up, guys? Dr. Vic here, and excited to be here with you guys, sharing another episode on the Mindful Experiment. This topic I want to discuss is something that is hopefully uplifting. I'm hoping to come across inspiring. It's something that I feel is needed around this time. I don't know why. I know this message that I'm going to share is going to resonate with someone that's going to go, I needed to hear that. And please, 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 if you are that person, reach out, let me know. Facebook, Instagram, social media, email me, however you would like to connect. I always love hearing from you guys. It's what inspires me to continue moving forward. You know, we're at 400 and I think 32 now this episode is. So we've done a couple, and it's coming to the end of the year and just so many other things happening. So let's dive in, shall we? I want to get into this because I think this is going to be, I like to keep these as short, as sweet as possible. And this came from an inspiration that my wife sent me this video. And I was like, man, this is great. I want to do a podcast on this because this is a topic that I think it's great and it needs to be expressed more and especially in different ways. And so we are going to be talking about the pencil. That's right, a pencil. We're going to be talking about a pencil today. Now, before you go, oh my God, I'm done with this. Please trust me. I wouldn't be doing this unless I knew it was going to be powerful. And I want you to think of life kind of like a pencil. We've all used them. Maybe as a kid only, maybe as an adult still. I mean, I have a pencil right here, mechanical. It was amazing how the most simplest tools can give us the greatest lessons. This is something I've always seeked as a kid. I seeked growing up. That always has interested me about who I am, what I'm about, but learning how to cultivate deep wisdom from the most littlest things. And this is going to be one of those things. It's going to be one of those things that are going to really bring to the table on that. So let's talk about a pencil, right? Life, lesson number one. Life is always, it's always going to be painful. There's always going to be pain showing up, right? It's always going to happen. And if you think about a pencil from time to time, there's things that we're getting the groove, right? You got a sharpened pencil, right? You're grinding around, you're writing, you're creating all that stuff, right? But there's going to come a point that you're going to have to take that pencil and you're going to have to sharpen it, to reuse it, to refine it, to repurpose it, and to bring it back to anew. Well, if the pencil had feelings, that would be pain, right? But the pain's temporary. Translate to the human life. Sometimes the pain can last a day. Sometimes these moments can be a week. Sometimes it can be a month. Sometimes it can be an entire year. Sometimes it can be a couple of years. Everyone's different. But know that it's only a short period of time. It's not going to last forever. No storm ever lasts forever. Nature, just look at what nature does. The clouds may not be out for a whole week, but it doesn't mean the sun doesn't exist. The concept is this, and the lesson is here is that this too shall pass. We've all heard that. Good and bad, based on what we define it. I want to be really clear with that. Good and bad is not based upon what others think. Good and bad is based upon what you think. Because life has no meaning except what you put on it. In the world we live in today, though, and what we've been conditioned over the last millennia, is that we have been told and taught through religions, through politicians, through XYZ communities, cultures that we've accepted as a unit of what is right and what is wrong. And we have to understand that right and wrong is determined by the individual, and over the collective, then we decide what is right or wrong. We give charges to these things, energy to these things. But pain is something that is going to only be temporary. And how you view it, good or bad, is what it will be. So just know that no matter where you are, no matter what circumstances you've been facing or what you are facing, just know that it's short term. It's not something that's designed to last forever. And the moment you can start to understand that, just think of a pencil that you've used a gazillion times, right? You sharpen it. You may have the little sharpener. I remember in school, we had the little wheel thing. We'd go up there, and I remember all the grinding it did, and you just go like this and sharpened it. And we had electric sharpeners as a kid. Now I have no idea what is used. But the point I'm trying to make is you have to sharpen it. So we're going old school, okay? Graphite, internal, wood, pencil, okay? All right. when we go through these kind of processes, the second thing I want you to understand is that we're going to make mistakes in life. Nobody's perfect. And unfortunately, in today's world, social media makes it seem like everybody's perfect. I mean, I can't tell how many times I've been shocked. Even some that are just so phenomenal what they do, and then you get to know that underneath, not that. I mean, I can go down a whole rabbit hole. But my podcast is not about being negative. It's looking at things from a perspective to understand that we're all going to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Nobody has this thing figured out. When I was younger, a little bit more arrogant, maybe more naive, I thought I had life figured out. And of course, challenges came and I couldn't figure them out. And then I was like in the moment trying to figure it out. And I look back at my life, I made a lot of mistakes. But it's one of those things about the mistakes that they're always going to show up. They're always going to be there. Like you're always going to make mistakes in some way, shape. Not all the time, but mistakes are going to happen. But just like a pencil, you have an eraser to it. And that eraser is there to kind of, when you learn from it, it's not a mistake anymore. Now that transforms and turns into a lesson. That turns into something that you can take. It helps you understand things a little better. And when we can do that and we can embrace life in that way and just understand we're just learning, it's a whole different ballgame. And for me, this is something I've shared with you guys. I've shared this on many podcasts I've been a guest on, and that is I'm always trying to help the individual remember being like a kid. And the reason why I say that is because as a kid, you don't see a child trying to walk. And after 100 falls, decides, well, I've tried this for as long as I could. This isn't working. I'm done. I'm going to move on. They keep going no matter what. They understand this principle. Children, in my opinion, based on working with children, studying the neurodevelopment side of children, understanding the energetic components of how it affects children, how they adapt and so forth, and what they could pick up on, they're a lot smarter than what we give credit to. Okay? They understand how to create. They understand that they're creators. They understand the power of the mind. They get all this. We, as adults, mess them up. But long story short, it's the concept and principle to understand that when it comes to erasing them, the mistakes are not mistakes, they're lessons. They're character building days. It's life's tuition. Put whatever term you like, make it fun. I remember when I was investing. Here's a story. I remember I was investing. I was starting to learn how to invest. I was doing day trading. I wanted to learn how to do that. I was putting up little capital at a time. And man, I got beat up. Like I was just like, come on. And then I was like, oh, there goes this, there goes that. Then I was like, forget this. I'm going to go into this trading. And I did that. And then things turned corner. And I was like, man, I missed that too. So long story short, I lost money. But I started to understand, like I kept saying, I didn't lose money. Because look at me now. After all that time, taking the time to learn to trade, pick up something new, I was able to go ahead and now I know how to read these things, right? That was just my life's tuition. And that's how I view upon it. And I don't care what anyone else thinks. Because at the end of the day, all that matters is what you feel about something. And so all that was erased. Why? Because it was a lesson that I learned. I learned things from it. It was life's tuition teaching me. And it was the cost of doing business. Again, choose a terminology that works best for you, but these are the things that are going to be the principles to helping you level up in your life and so much more. Number 3 is that no matter where you are, no matter what you do, everything that you do in your life is going to leave a mark. It always is. Energetically, and so forth. So know that every aspect of who you are is always leaving a mark. You're writing your story. You're writing your chapter. You're doing that aspect of it. And the beautiful thing about that is there's so much to that. I love that perspective of it because you ever met someone that you kind of took them for granted. As humans, we do this a lot. I know I can share my own stories. And then all of a sudden they suddenly pass. They transition to the back to home. And you sit there for a moment and you're like, wow, the mark they had on my life. And you start to reflect on it, you put energy into it, you start looking into it. And all of a sudden you're like, wow, this person had a mark on myself. They really left a mark here. It's just like children. I used to love this. I mean, there's so much is that when I speak, and I've been speaking for quite some time now, but I've done speakings for teenagers and so forth. And there's things I'll say that I have no clue that it's important to them. I'm clueless to it, 100%. And they'll come up after and they'll say, like, man, that story or that thing you shared there, that really resonated with me. That really struck a chord. And for me, I'm like, I didn't even know it would. Um, but it's again leaving a mark. And I want you to understand that you, the individual, are needed in this world. This is no BS. You're needed. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. Understand this. There is no in quantum mechanics. There's a principle called the Pauli exclusion principle that states there are no two things in the universe identical. There's no two humans. There'll never be another human like you in the past, in the future, in all of time, in humanity's history. There'll never be another one like you. Just like as your soul, there is no other soul like you. Think you're a little important now? Are you feeling that a little bit? I hope you are, because your energy and your presence just being here is blessed the world. It's Christian the world. You've blessed it with your presence. And it's our role as individuals, I believe, as a soul, and what we want to experience is to express that light within us, that soul aspect within us to the world. And I believe those who have left big marks into humanity's history and continue to do to today is because they're expressing their soul to the fullest. And so everywhere you go, you leave a mark, just like a pencil. The last thing I want to leave with you guys is the most important thing of the pencil. It doesn't matter how it looks. Doesn't matter what shape it comes in. Doesn't matter the size of it. Doesn't matter any of that. The most important thing about the pencil is what resides within it. It's that graphite, baby. That's what you need. That's what leaves the mark. That's what does the writing. But to turn that into a human being, always remember that the most important thing that you have within you is within. You've been blessed with everything within you. You've been given seeds. You just got to go cultivate those seeds of greatness because we all have it within us. And it's up to us to really awaken to that process. And this is why I've written some books on these things, because that's I'm trying to shift mindsets to pay attention to those seeds and understand what those seeds are and then nurture them. Because like anything else, the more you water it to give love to it and give it what it needs, it will thrive every single time because that's what nature does. That's what we do as our human body does, and so much more. And so remember that there is beauty within. There's amazing things that you have within you. Don't try, if you're overwhelmed, if you're exhausted about life, don't let that, take a moment, slow it down, and just feel these things out, because there are things, and you'll know. It's an inner knowing I can try to teach you it, but you're going to have to learn it because it's a way of what's unique to you. But once you do, there's a knowing. And then you follow that and let that feed you and fuel you. And I could tell you that going on the paths that I've done in my life, doing some things that people think are absolutely crazy and foolish and all these other things, at the end of the day, I came out on the other side more blissed, more excited because of the experiences that I've gone through in my life, of the journey of following and expressing what's in and trying to express that to the world. Follow your heart. It always leads you in the right place. It always leads you to where you need to be. That's one thing I love about the heart. The mind will trick you, but the heart never does. I hope this was insightful for you guys. This was a message that I needed to hear at this time where I'm at in my life. It just gave me some, my wife sends me things from time to time. I swear she's my divine guidance. That's all I can say. Like, she'll send me stuff and she says, I know you need to hear this. She goes, I feel like you need to hear that. This message is for you, or here's this, and this is where you could, or something that's unconscious that I'm unaware of. She's like, I feel like you need to work on this part. Just listen to that. And then I'll feel it. I'm like, dang, that's deep. I'm like, oh, this hurts my stomach a little bit. I know this is going to be something deep. And so remember the four things. Pain is temporary. All things shall pass. this too shall pass. Okay. It's a short process. It's redefining you. It's helping repurpose you. It's helping you to work on your craft or work through something to level up and experience more of what it is you choose. Second, there's no such thing as mistakes in life. You have an eraser for a purpose, for a reason. Once you turn that mistake into a lesson, it's gone. There is no mistake. Number 3, everywhere you go, you leave your mark. And the last one, which I think is the most important one, the greatest thing is within. I want to appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you have not already, please subscribe to the podcast. It's going to help you catch up with all the updates we have. Like this week, we did 3. We're doing 3 episodes this week because we didn't get one out last week. So you don't miss any of these. Second, if you found this to be inspirational in some way, shape, or form, share it with someone. Share it with your family and your friends. Get the word out there to help, because I feel like there's more people that need to hear this during this time. Last but not least, if you enjoy the podcast, if you like it, do me a huge favor. Please share a review. It helps us get out there. We used to have over 1,000 reviews on on Apple, and then something changed it, and we're down to like 150. So your reviews help us to expand our reach and to help people get to know more about us and who we are. I want to appreciate you as always, and until next time, keep rocking and rolling.